Hi, guys. Welcome back to the podcast. It's your host, Sarah, and today I have my Instagram friend, Carra, with me, and we are going to be talking about Carra, what are your pronouns?
She, her.
We are going to be talking about her journey to diagnosis, which was interestingly in the first Trump era. So I'm fascinated to hear about that process. But before we get into it, I just have a piece of fan mail I wanted to read. Hey, I love the show. Speaking as a recently diagnosed borderline man, hearing the stories from you and your guests has really made me feel more grounded with myself, especially with the show on shame and Julia not child. Interestingly enough, I relate to Julia's situation because me and a close friend had a falling out because of my then pre-diagnosed episode and her own actions as well. I do have a question. Do borderlines oftentimes attract other borderlines? Carol, what are your thoughts on that?
Yes, I believe that they do, or like-minded people. It's very interesting to look back and see like it attracts like. And sometimes opposites attract, but I feel like we always gravitate people that we can relate to.
People that we see ourselves in for sure.
Hmm.
Yeah, and I feel like when you have like big emotions or struggle with regulation, to see yourself in other people who have that same experience, because not many people do, it can be really easy. I think there's also like there can be like a negative side of being attracted to people who have the same difficulties with dysregulation, because like your dysregulation and their dysregulation can butt heads too. So you have to make sure that you're using your skills while you're in those kinds of friendships or like romantic relationships as well.
100%.
Okay, well, thanks so much for the piece of fan mail. I love when you guys write in and leave voicemails and send messages. It's so fun. Kara, let's get into it. Tell me about your story. Where are you from? Who are you? What's your journey to diagnosis?
So technically, I am from the Philadelphia area, right outside of the Northeast, and I am currently in Tennessee, East Tennessee, which is, a very drastic difference. Yeah, with the anxiety and emotions that come with, BPD, I needed something much slower paced. So moving down to Tennessee was that a very cultural difference, but it's not bad. I really enjoy being over here and definitely this little bubble of East Tennessee.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, you do not look like you're from Tennessee. I don't know if you've heard that before, but you do not. You look like you're from Portland, Oregon.
Yes, I do. And it's really funny because I'm a server and I have customers that also they look at me like, "You're not from here, are you?" And I'm like, "No, I'm not." So it's funny. And I don't mind it because then it's I can show people there are different types of people around. That we all can look different and you don't have to judge a book by its cover.
Absolutely. Yeah, I love it. So, what was childhood like for you?
Hard. And I don't remember a lot of my childhood, which now I'm actually I'm in the process of trying to dive into the trauma and kind of what has happened, why don't I remember things, and why I did certain things, and talking to my parents about was I a bad child when I was younger? But yeah, childhood was not the best. But honestly, it probably could have been worse. I think with having divorced parents and already having trauma starting with that, it just kind of led to a snowball of other things. And from my understanding with borderline is that it's kind of like a nature versus nurture kind of thing. And we create our emotions are trying to protect ourselves. So we react, we feel, we put walls up, or we attach because we don't want to lose the friendships or the people that we have. So and then I look back now after being over 10 years now diagnosed, I've had favorite people or persons back when I was like way younger. So it's really interesting to look at and be like, oh, here's the line that connects all of that.
Yeah. I can super relate to that. I had a favorite person. Just I've only had one favorite person in my life, and it was when I was younger, and we knew each other from 12 to 24 probably. And those are really, developmentally heavy years. And so when you have favorite people during that time, it can be sort of disruptive to your ability to have healthy friendships or relationships because like those are not healthy friendships or relationships, but that's what you learn when you're young.
Yeah.
And it's always under the guise of this is my best friend. Or I guess
Yeah.
your partner too.
Well, like I was always in like a relationship with somebody and it just kind of like bounced from relationship to relationship. And I look back now realizing, oh, that's why I did all those things. That's why I was attached to everybody and why I remember when was it? I think it was in college. Somebody was like, "Yeah, you really attach yourself to people." And that was before I was diagnosed. So they mentioned that like, when I see somebody new, it's like I just gravitate and I basically attach myself to them and not like they're everything to me. And then after I learned about favorite person, I was like, "Oh, that's what I did to everybody." Not realizing what it was, and it makes sense.
Yeah. How do you feel about it now looking back?
It's hard because I look back and it's like, wow, I could have been a better friend. I could have been a better person if I just didn't have all these emotions and attached myself in that way and was like, this is life or death if they're not talking to me. And it put a lot on those people, and I never realized that. And now when I look back, it's like I want to apologize to everybody, and I can't. And whether or not they will read it, accept it, whatever, I mean, that's on me, it's not on them. But it's like I wish I knew better. But at the same time, it's like that was a part of my journey. I needed to learn those things. I don't like that I had to hurt people in that process. No one does. And I just didn't know better. And I wish I could go back and change it, but at the same time, it's like it led me to where I'm at now.
Yeah. Yeah, I wish I could go back and change some of those relationships too. And I often think about like with that one person in particular, my best friend, like how cool it would be to still have her in my life and like to have walked each other through our marriages and like possibly through having kids and all of those things that like I don't get to do with her now because of the way that I imploded the friendship, right? And I think of like apologies now as kind of like through sobriety or AA or whatever, kind of your like living amends, like your working amends, the way that you live your life is your apology. And like not repeating those patterns is your apology. I don't have any plans to reach out to anybody and apologize because that would be for me and my own sense of self and my own sense of like shame and trying to self-soothe rather than like for them, I think often. And I'm not going to do that to people. Um, and it's been so long and and also like there's a sense of shame in having to apologize and like hoping that people will like see you and meet you where you're at and all of that shit. So I don't have any plans for that, but yeah, it is really interesting stuff. And I was also like back to back relationships and that shit was so chaotic. I don't know if it was for you or not, but like I one day I'm with a girl, the next day I'm with a boy, the next day I'm with a trans person. And like the cycle starts all over again. And like, oh, what a mess.
Yes.
Or like I was like a serial cheater too.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, and I think it's that's something that with the BPD, it's like we want that attention, we want those relationships, and it's like where's like the next best thing? And it's like we get I don't want to say bored, but it's like we create a little bit of like chaos, and it's like okay, well now I'm gonna go find it again and again and again, and like I didn't stop and really look until like I was with my husband like married, and I'm like wow, like I'm doing these patterns again. And searching out for people that can relate to me, that can do these things, that create that chaos. And in reality, it's like, but I finally found peace. And now I'm looking for chaos again. It's like I like went back to that, and that's what I thought I wanted was the chaos. And it's like, no, but in reality, you don't, that's not what you want and not what you need. And the person that's giving you the peace is actually helping you. And that this is what real, like a real relationship is. Where I thought the chaos was a real relationship. And it's so hard to sit there and like think it's like, I remember talking to my recent therapist, and it's like, I just wanted it. I didn't know what peace was. You know, when you live in chaos for your whole life, you just think that's normal. And you end up searching that out. And it's like you're repeating patterns over and over and over again. And then when you finally have that peace, you're like, this isn't normal. This is kind of weird. This is uncomfortable. So, and then you search out, sometimes not meaning to. I don't
Yeah.
know if that's ever happened to you where it's like you're like unintentionally doing things because of BPD. Like I ended up like not realizing that I was searching for something that I didn't have in my relationship. And at the same time, it's like, even though I did have it, it didn't feel like I had it.
Was your parents' divorce chaotic?
Yes, very much so. My one parent was in PA, the other parent was in Tennessee somewhere. And there was a lot of things that have happened between my one parent and me and the other one. Somehow, I don't know why I was in the middle of it for, parents thinking they're doing the best thing that they can for said child. And it's not always the best thing when they are not in the right mind. When they have their own mental illnesses or their own addictions, like they end up doing things that may not be correct, but they think that they are.
Yeah, I mean, I really believe that people do the best that they can for the most part. That's not true of everyone, but I do think it's true for a good majority of people that they do the best that they feel they can. And oftentimes their best is not enough, definitely not good enough. It's not what we need, right? And so, do you have siblings?
I have one biological brother and two stepbrothers on my stepdad's side. Yeah. My biological father doesn't have any other kids.
Are you the oldest?
The oldest between me and my biological brother, yeah. With the other two stepbrothers, I'm like in the middle.
Hmm.
And I grew up with them, so
And so, 2016, how old were you?
I was 22 and I'm 32 now. So yeah. And I was living in South Philly with a partner at the time, and it was in school. And I'm trying to think what else. It was after when I fully got diagnosed. It was I know you asked me one question, I'm diverting into a bunch of other things. Um, I can continue, or you can ask another question.
No, please continue. We love it.
Okay. When so technically I got diagnosed in like 2025, and I just turned, no, I was still 21 at the time. So I found out in like the summer of 2015, and then I didn't start therapy until September of 2015, and I was 22 at the time.
And what
So I
kind of
wasn't even like,
therapy?
what was that?
What kind of therapy?
I was in individual therapy and dialectical behavioral therapy.
Oh, cool. You got it really young.
Yeah. And I got it really early, and I'm very, very grateful for that. And I look back and I'm like, I'm so glad I was able to do that, because most people, and I did it as a different way than it is now, where now it's like a 9 week course, like 3 days a week, where mine was once a week, and I was in the program for 4 years. So we went over all the skills twice, mindfulness like 15 times. Um, But I'm very, 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 very grateful for that program. And unfortunately, they do not do it anymore.
Hmm. How often do you have to use your skills now, do you say?
Luckily now, not that often. And I think that's because of I'm actually like properly medicated, which also took a long time to get fully medicated, like the correct way. And you know how medication is with everybody, it's different.
Mhm.
One medication for work for somebody and not for the other.
You and I got diagnosed around the same time. I'm trying to figure out the math here because we're the same age. I'm 32. I got diagnosed when I was 23. I was a junior in graduate school, and Trump wasn't yet president. So am I fucking up with my math? Because I was not living in the apartment that I was living in when Trump was elected. So I'm trying to think. He was elected in 2016.
He probably didn't go into office until 2017.
Yeah, something is weird in my timeline, but we were diagnosed right around the same time in our lives, and just generally the same timeline. And like, I remember being like so emotional when Trump was elected, just like unconsolable, right? And like, I think like if I fact check that, I think that's totally appropriate. But
Hmm.
what a weird time to get diagnosed. I don't know if you feel the same.
Yeah, no, it is. It is. And I mean, for me, I was so stuck inside myself. And then like you just look on the outside with the world just kind of like crumbling in front of you. And you're also crumbling as well.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was crumbling when I got my diagnosis. You tell me what it was like for you, but I was like, I started crying because I felt some shame because I knew what it meant. But I was like also so relieved because I was just like, I finally have answers for what's been happening for so long. And I was in a long-term relationship at the time. I think we were like 3 years into our relationship and I was actually engaged. And I remember my ex was like, oh, yeah, it makes sense. Like, totally get this. This is the right diagnosis. Like, where do we go from here? But I didn't get DBT until probably 4 years later. And so
Wow.
you, I'm just like so glad that you were able to access that so quickly.
Yeah, well, when I got diagnosed, it was after an attempt, and I was at the hospital. I don't know how they didn't end up admitting me, but they didn't. And a doctor comes in with like the sheet of paper and was like, "So I think you have this, and there's a really good place that I'm going to recommend you to go to." And I looked at the paper, and I've never heard of borderline before. So I always heard of like bipolar, ADHD, those types of common diagnoses. So when I found out about borderline, I was like, you know, reading it and I was like, this makes so much sense. So it's like I'm glad, but at the same time, I'm like, well, this is why I've been fucking up my life this whole entire time. Like, there's a reason behind it. Like, I am the one making these choices, yes, but at the same time, like, my brain isn't wired correctly, and it's like because of trauma has made me this way. And it made a lot of sense. And I remember going back to my partner and being like, we can either end this now and we move on, or you stay with me and we figure this out together. And we tried that but that was in 2015, 16, 17. We ended up breaking up in 2017. And that was a whole nother episode, but it was very interesting to try to build that with a partner and not on your own. Were you still like engaged in with your partner when you started doing DBT?
Oh, I had had like five other partners since then. And then I was married to my ex-wife when I started doing DBT. So,
Okay.
and my ex-wife was supportive of me going to DBT, but like when it came to like the family part of DBT, refused to go with me because
Hmm.
my ex is a cop, which is so weird for me to wrap my brain around now because I'm not supportive of the police about 90% of the time. And she was like, I'm not gonna go to family night in case I see anyone that I've like arrested or has been in the jail system or anything like that. Which now looking back, like
Ah.
at the time I was very upset. And now looking back, I'm like, there is so much just inherent stigma in that decision and that language that I can't even just the cognitive dissonance of like the life that I was living then versus like my authentic life now is just so crazy. But yeah, no, I was not with that partner, long past that partner, probably like five or six other partners, all of which were fucking bananas. So yeah, no. When did you meet your husband?
We met in 2020, actually, during COVID.
Was that your COVID relationship?
Yeah. So, well, it's funny. So from 2017 to 2020, I decided to just explore and like to really work on myself because, like I've never been single my whole teenage adult life, at that point. So I'm like, all right, I'm going to take this time to actually sit here and work on myself and know that I will be okay without being with anybody. And that was the biggest thing for me where I thought my person, like, I lived for that person. Like, if I didn't have that person in my life, I was gone. So it was really hard to teach myself that you're your own person, you make your own decisions. Like, I got into this, and I don't know if you ever did, but for me, it was that, like, when I met a partner or got with a partner, anybody, and even a friendship, it's like I became that person rather than myself. So between 2017 and 2020, I was really making sure that I had my own identity. I am my own person no matter what happens. And then in 2019, I moved to Tennessee. So, I've dated people here and there, but it never went anywhere. And actually, it was funny because when I moved, I didn't want to date a man because all my trauma is also with men. So I just happened to meet my husband on a dating app and ignored him for 2 weeks. And he moved to the town that we're in 2 weeks before we met. So it's very interesting, like how that works out. And then we've just stayed together since, and it's been wonderful. But I feel
How
like it doesn't always work that way, but I'm really grateful it did.
how have your symptoms presented in this marriage?
So, have you ever like called like an episode or like a long period of time as in like a relapse?
No, because I'm an alcoholic, so when I think about relapse, I think about booze.
Okay, understandable. Um, and it's funny because I have like my one side has addiction. I luckily did not take that on. But in different ways, I do take it on. Um, but for me, it's like, okay, so in my marriage, I noticed, and even before we got married, I noticed it. I mean, I guess I noticed it after the fact, but I started going into this like BPD cycle of symptoms, like right before we got married. Like I lost my best friend. We've known each other since kindergarten, and we were like on and off friends for a long time. And she also has BPD, so like that happened, and I felt like I lost everything because my best friend just left. I still have issues with that, which is really hard. But I remember I was in this cycle for a year, and my husband didn't know who I was. I didn't even know who I was. I was doing these things that I would not say I am or I do. Like self-harm was a big one. I was on a medication that also didn't help, that like made these big episodes a lot bigger. Um, and now like I got off that medication and I just kind of sat there one day and looked back. It's like, wow, I tried to destroy my life for almost a year. And I basically just said, fuck that. Whatever happens, happens. Let's just catch it on fire. And I'm really grateful my husband did not leave me at that time because, and him and I talk about this often. It's like, you know, he knew it wasn't me. He knew, but he didn't know how to help me get out of it because he's never seen that. And we were together for what? No, we were together for like 3 years before that. And I felt like I didn't have those really heavy BPD symptoms for a long time. Like I would say that's like a, I would say like I hadn't had an episode like that in 7 years. And that was what, 2017? 2017, sorry. 2017. That doesn't make sense. 2017. And I look back and it's like, what was going on in that? What made me end up going through that cycle? And it's a lot of changes. You're losing yourself in a way because you're becoming a couple and I'm legally tied to this person. I'm losing that sort of identity in myself. Did you ever feel that way in like your marriage at all?
I felt that way in my first marriage. I don't feel that in my marriage now. I haven't felt that in my marriage now. That's not to say that I won't feel that in the future, but I I look back at my first marriage and I was never myself, not for a moment.
Hmm.
I was always like playing the role of what a wife should be, especially a wife to a police officer, what that should be.
Mm, yeah, it's hard. So, yeah, I like now it's like my looking at my life now with being properly medicated, I can see that like my symptoms arise as in like emotional dysregulation. Like I take things on very I feel very deeply. And I don't know how to always turn that off. So I just feel the emotion. Gotta just like if I don't feel it, it just bubbles up into something so much more than what it needs to be. So the fact that I can now sit because of DBT, I can sit and feel the emotion, let it pass, and then be able to move on. It doesn't help when I have, alcohol or drugs. Like okay, I don't do drugs, but like I do drink every so often, and at times, like if I have alcohol, it's like my emotions go from like 0 to 100 as you know as it does, and I know okay, just I can just have one beer and that's it. Like I remember just trying to get like blackout drunk before and doing all these things. And now it's like, no, I know my emotions, I know myself, and I know if I have more than one, there's a chance of me turning the complete opposite way.
Yeah, that's my favorite. I love it. Except for I'm more like I'll have 20. Yeah, I relate a lot to what you're talking about. I don't feel like I have huge episodes anymore that last for a long period of time. I have like very rapid cycling, and there will be periods of time where I'm rapidly cycling more than others, but I definitely have like huge depressive episodes that last for long periods of time.
Hmm. Oh, I was listening to one of your episodes recently, and it was you talking about going to the beach and things just like weren't working out the way that you planned, and with somebody who wants to have control, like you feel all these things, and it's like even though it's like okay, like I know it's fine, but why am I feeling so big right now? Why is this such a big deal? But and it's hard. So it's like I like that you're like, I'm taking myself to the car, I'm going to calm myself down. And that's what I have to do to myself too. It's like I'm basically putting myself in timeout to calm down, to know that this is not like I'm feeling something in my body. It may not be this thing that is actually happening. What is really going on? Something that I've had to learn in the past is that like something 15 days ago could have been bothering me, and just like little I get that little hits here, 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 and here, and now the last thing that hits me is what I blow up at. And I'm like, but that didn't really upset me. So why did I blow up? And then I sit there and think, it's like, okay, well, what was the core thing that was bothering me? And then it's like you have to process that. You actually have to deal with those things rather than just letting them sit there. So that's why, like, even if something little just upsets me, it's like, I gotta feel it. If I don't feel it, then it's just gonna get worse. And even though that's just ranting it out to people too, like it just getting it out of my body, I feel a lot better.
Hmm. Yeah, I do a lot of writing for that reason.
I wish writing could help me in that way, but I talk a lot, so it's like I just gotta like word vomit to everybody.
Hmm. Yeah, that's the same thing, just a different version of it. Do you notice specific themes that are more dysregulating to you than others?
I would say control is definitely one of them. And it's funny because I never thought of me as like a controlling person, but it's more of like I have a plan. This is how the plans are going to go, and if they don't go that way, then like it's hard. I guess another thing is that for me, when people don't understand, like I will talk things through often, and whether or not it's like something's little or something big, it's like I just want to be understood. And if I'm not understood, that really is hard for me too. I mean, we all want to be understood. Being heard is a big one.
Hmm.
So I think it's like when I'm not heard or not, and you're not going to understand everybody, and not everybody's going to hear you. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know if you can relate to this, but like as growing up, it's like I realized it's like I wasn't heard as a child. So I think that's why it's so prominent for me. If I'm not heard, I get really upset. But then it's like when I get really upset, no one's going to hear me. Because then you just end up being mean or hateful because you're like, why can't you hear me? Why can't you understand?
Yeah, one of my biggest triggers is along the same lines, but it's if I feel like I'm not understanding the other person, so I'm not hearing the other person, like what they're intending to say to me, I feel really stupid. Like one of my biggest triggers, and I don't know if you have ADHD, but
Mhm.
this, yeah, you do. Okay, so you probably relate. Like having ADHD and not understanding and not being able to process the things that were happening in school often left me feeling very, very stupid. And that's like one of my biggest triggers in adulthood. And it comes up actually quite frequently with my husband who also has ADHD and who is autistic. And our brains work very differently. So he'll say something very matter of fact. And then when I don't understand, he says something very matter of fact again. And I'm like, I don't understand. And now I feel like I'm stupid. And now I'm fucking pissed. And I'm like, this just happened to me the other day when I'm working on this garden expansion. I don't know if you've seen it, but I am in the process of like breaking down these pallets that we got and making garden boxes out of them because I'm like, I only want to use recycled free materials. But I wasn't fucking able to figure out how to use the pallet breaker on the end pieces. And he came over and he showed me, and I was like, yeah, I understand that piece of it, but I don't understand this piece of it. But you just told me the piece that I fucking understand. I'm not fucking stupid. And then I like toss the pallet breaker down and I go upset or I go upstairs and I'm just done, right? It's just such bullshit all the time. Like, I don't know. It's exhausting, man.
No, I'm the same exact way because that makes a lot of sense. Like, my husband also has ADHD, and I feel like, like we have two different brains, but also like he's very, very logical, and I'm very, very emotional. So, he'll say one thing and I'm looking at him like, no, but it's this way. And then we go back and forth, like, and then like same thing with like working on something. It's like my brain, I'm just like putting things together, like yada yada yada. And then the one day he was like, why did you do it that way? Like it doesn't make sense. And I'm like, but it made sense to me. And then like trying to describe things like the way that I want something done and the way he wants something done is very different. But like we're getting like I'm over here, he's over here. We're trying to get here, but somehow we go like kind of close, but never together. Like fixing the chicken coop, I had this idea in my head, like this is how we're gonna fix it, and we're going like bickering back and forth about it. And we try it one way, and then he starts like cutting this thing, and I was like, "Why are you doing that? Like that makes no sense." But in his brain, it did. And it's just like I just get to this point where I get fed up and I'm just like, you know what? I'm just not going to do it because you can do it better. I'm just going to walk away. And I think that's why I did so bad in school too. It's like, why even try? Because I'm like, I'm going to fail anyway. So why try? And then like looking back, like I did that in a lot of parts of my life. And so it's not even just school. It's not even just little arguments like that. It's like, learning new things. It's like you have to fail to learn. But getting the criticism or the F on the paper or whatever, it's like if I just make the choice not to do it, I don't have to get that. I don't have to get that rejection.
Yeah, and that's how I feel in relationships too. Like I'm just gonna walk away from you before you walk away from me. And I have broken up with almost everyone I've ever been with except for my ex-wife. Like she was the one that decided to end the marriage, and that was devastating to me. But I have to tell you, this is so fucking funny. My husband and I have fought about our chicken coop so much. It is unreal because I'm like, I don't fucking understand what you're saying to me about how, because we're working on expanding the chicken coop so they have a bigger run. Which it makes it sound like they don't have any red. They totally have a big enough run, but we're going to get more chickens. And so we're expanding it. And I'm like, I don't fucking understand what you're saying to me, dude. Like, I don't get it. And we have fought about that damn chicken coop so many times.
That's so funny. And it's like, why is the chicken coop? Because like I'm like, but my poor birds, like I want them to have more space. And Patrick's like, no, they're fine. And I'm like, but they're not. He's like,
Yeah.
my yard. And I'm like, no, my chickens.
Yeah. I relate so much. So, what is one thing you want people to know about borderline?
Not to be afraid and to continue growing. As much as it's hard, we can change, we can work on things, we can do the things we thought were impossible. It just takes time and a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Absolutely. Well, Kara, thank you so much for your time and coming on the podcast. I so enjoyed it.
Thank you, me too.
Hi, listeners. Thank you for tuning in to the Bold, Beautiful Borderline podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode today. If you liked what you heard, don't forget to subscribe, rate, and leave a review on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your content. That is super helpful for me. It helps us find additional folks who want to listen to the show, want to feel seen, family members who want to learn, and partners who want to understand. If you want to follow along to more than just the podcast, find us on Instagram at Bold Beautiful Borderline, find me at Borderline from Hell, or head over to boldbeautifulborderline.com where there's information, resources, a place to leave a voicemail to be heard on the podcast, which I love, and just general content. All of that information can be found in the show notes. And if you want to get exclusive content, which is bonus episodes, journal prompts, worksheets, all sorts of extra stuff, sometimes videos of me with my hair very crazy with kind of impulsive borderline rants, head over to Patreon and consider becoming a member. That is super helpful with creating content that allows me to destigmatize BPD and all of the other wild mental health struggles that we discuss on the podcast. A huge thanks to everyone who joins on the podcast to share their story and just generally helps keep this thing alive. Especially my friend Corey Evans from the Evergreen Band. He produced and created the music that is the intro and outro for this show, as well as the cover art that was created by my husband, Talon Abbott. Their information is found in the show notes. All of the information discussed in the podcast is purely personal experience. This is not medical recommendations. This is not therapy recommendations. There's no producer for this show. It's all me.